Timeout Show is brought to you by Performance Automotive, Jack Smith Agency, Frank Beck Chevrolet, Coach B's Driving School, and our friends at Randy's Auto Body tonight. We are happy to have the VonDeylen boys, Zane and Jason, as they get ready to do rodeo this weekend down in Ohio. An exciting discussion about a sport we don't talk about a heck of a lot tonight on the Timeout Show. After that segment, in second segment tonight, talk about the Camden Frontier Redskins and their win at Bellevue, a dramatic come-from-behind win. The Redskins are 6-0. We'll also talk Rangers and Pittsburgh, both of those teams flying high as we roll through a high school football season this year. And then we say goodbye to Brad Ausmus. We'll talk a little bit about the Brad Ausmus era, also get you some Lions coverage in the second half hour as well. But as we start off today, our local interview tonight with a young man who has accomplished a lot already, and he's just 10 years old. Zane VonDeylen, along with his dad Jason, our guest tonight. Guys, how are you?
Good.
Well, Zane, let me know about this rodeo stuff. Now, you're just a young guy. What are you, 10 years old?
Yes, sir.
And to me, you're way too young to be doing rodeo. That's a dangerous sport. But yeah, you do it all the time, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what you, step right up to the microphone. Tell everybody what you do in the rodeo.
Well, I ride bulls.
Mostly riding bulls, right?
Yeah.
How did you get started? How did this all get started for you?
My dad was a professional bull rider for 10 years. Third generation bull rider.
So Jason, you did this professionally for a while. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you get started in the sport?
Actually, I got started in the sport when I come home from the military. Something passed the time. I went to a friend's house over in Pittsburgh, and they're like, "Hey, we're having some bull riding. You want?" And afterwards, they were like, "You want to ride?" I'm like, at that time, I was up for anything.
Yeah.
You know, my dad used to ride with the family anyway, so I figured I'd try it. First time I ever got on, I got on 7 bulls in one day and fell in love with it.
And you never got seriously injured?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And because when I watch that sport, Jason, the guys that get flung off and stomped on and stampeded and out, it just looks like you'd have to be crazy to get on one of these things, and yet people love doing it. What's attractive to it for you, keeping in mind how dangerous it is? Why do you love it so much?
The adrenaline rush.
Sure.
Like I said, the first day I rode, I got on 7 bulls in the first day, and the first time I called for the chute gate just to feel the power, trying to match up power for power with the animal. And then as I got into it, I learned that you're never going to overpower them. You have to pretend like they're your dancing partner and let them lead and follow and try to catch up. It's basically like, for the guys that do it, it's like a game of chess, but at 150 mile an hour.
Oh my gosh, how did you get hurt?
I broke my neck twice. I've had the
my
Superman fracture twice. I broke my back twice. I broke my femur, plus numerous fingers, toes, you know.
So do you still have, aches and pains from your bull riding career?
Yeah, I have them, but, it's
Not too bad.
It's mind over matter, and actually it's to the point. I'm working on getting back into shape, drop a few more pounds, and I'm hoping to go at it again this winter up to Pro Edge Arena, up to Earl Proctor's place.
So you give another shot?
Yeah,
Get back on.
I would really love to, and depending on how this winter goes, maybe try to get my PRCA card again or my SEBRA card again, and try to make it big one more time.
So your son Jason here obviously is a young fella. How long has he been riding bulls and that sort of thing?
He's been riding about 3 years now. When it started out, he always said he was going to raise them and not ride them, which I was fine with. And then he's like, "Well, we're bucking calves at the Little Britches deals. I want to get on." Fine, I'll help you. We have not only myself, but other great coaches to help them along the way through the Little Britches. And then our stock contractor for our Little Britches deals, Shane Engstrom, said, "Hey, I'm putting on mini bull ridings at my mid-state shows. Would your son be interested in coming?" And that's the way we got our start. So right now we have 3 bulls at home that he gets to practice on every now and then, not as much as we'd like, but.
So Zane, you decided to give this a shot, And the first time that you got on one of these things, what was that experience like?
Awesome.
You liked it right at the beginning, just like your dad, huh?
Yeah, actually,
And
I
you weren't scared or anything.
I was scared.
Okay, that's an honest answer. I appreciate that.
Nervous, scared. Just push through it, not breathe and nod.
And you say breathe and nod?
Yeah.
Is that bull rider lingo right there?
Breathe and nod means you slide up to your rope, take a deep breath, and nod your head and call for the chute gate to let it out in your in and try to match up with the animal.
Let it rip. Now, have you ever been thrown off one of these things?
Yes.
And then you want to try not to get stomped on, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you've got all of that personal safety stuff figured out. How does a kid, Jason, if we have people listening who think this is fascinating or interesting, how do you get started? How do you get started in rodeo or bull riding?
If it's a young kid that wants to get started, they can contact me. I will help them out as much as I can. Earl Proctor at Pro Edge Arena is another good person to get in contact
You said
with.
Pro Edge Arena?
Pro Edge Arena, he's the one that started Bucking Bulls last winter. He was I know he had Ken Stillwell Ford as one of their big sponsors. When I rode with Earl. And I ain't gonna, any rodeo I went to and I seen Earl, I kind of hated it because I knew I was always riding for second.
I'm going to ask you a tricky question here, Jason. You've had multiple broken bones, obviously laid up in the hospital. It's a dangerous sport, as you mentioned, and yet all of those broken bones that you've had, you're still encouraging your son to get into the sport. Understanding the risks, as you know so intimately, having gone through this yourself, why put your son in and risk him like that with this sport? What's your thought process?
It's his own choice, you know. And if he ever wanted to walk away, that'd be fine too.
Sure.
Everybody's got to make their own choices, and we had a rodeo earlier this year to where he had a bull that stopped on him, and there was one other rider, and they offered him a re-ride, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to take it." And he's like, "Well, did I make the right decision?" I said, "That's a business decision you have to make, you know."
Right.
And I've had people ask me, you know, well, what if he doesn't ever want to ride again? That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was perfectly happy when he said he wanted to raise bulls and not ride bulls.
Sure.
I know the pain that can be there. I know the injuries are going to be there, and it's not if you get hurt, it's when you get hurt.
It's a matter of time.
It's when and how bad.
In addition to the riding the bulls, are there other aspects of rodeo that you could see Zane potentially get into later on?
Well, actually, in the Little Britches side of it, he does goat tying, which
Okay.
gets him started for the calf roping. He does breakaway roping. He does daily roping. I mean, he's an all-around cowboy, and I mean, he can ride the rough stock. He does bareback steers too, which gets him ready for the bronc horses and stuff like that. I never had the talent. I had to put out every bit of effort. He's got all the talent in the world, and he can play both sides of the arena. You know, and when it goes back to the bull riding aspect of it, you know, not only did I ride, I fight for these guys now in the Little Britches deals.
Sure.
So, you know, it's been a family sport ever since we got into it. I have two daughters that also ride rodeo, so I mean, we push through it as a family. We all enjoy it.
It's a family tradition. It's something you do together.
Yes.
And that makes it great. Zane, it sounds like you have to know a lot of different stuff in addition to the riding, which, you know, is instinctual and you kind of get into the rhythm. Your dad just mentioned all these other events that you do also. How did you learn all this stuff? I mean, you're just 10 years old. How did you learn it all?
A lot of practice.
A lot of practice, huh?
A lot of people working with me.
What's your favorite event besides the bull riding? Your dad mentioned 5 or 6 other things. What do you like to do?
It's hard.
You like them all, right?
Yeah.
You really enjoy all of them. Okay, you're in a competition. Are there fans and people, audience watching and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
So you have a few people watching anyway, right?
Yeah.
Does your heart start pounding?
Yes.
And almost like it's going to burst right out of your chest?
Yes.
And you want to put on a show, right? You want to do well. What's the longest that professional rodeo, what do they talk about, 6 seconds or something like that?
Professional rodeo ride 8 seconds.
8 seconds.
These guys ride 6 for a qualified ride.
So if you can get it to 6 seconds, then it qualifies.
Yes, sir.
And you're able to do that.
Yes.
And you just hang on and go with it.
Mhm.
When you're not doing it, you're a student at Pittsford.
Mhm.
Who's your teacher?
Mrs. Monahan.
And you're a good student. Your dad said you carry straight A's for the most part, which is awesome. And this is something I get a feeling that you and your family, you're going to keep doing for a long time, right?
Yes.
What would you tell a kid your age thinking about getting into it? Would you recommend or suggest that they do it, or is it just got to be something that they want to do?
Their choice.
Their choice. Their choice. And that's kind of what it comes down to. All right, Jason, this weekend, you're making a trip down to Ohio. Can you tell everybody what Zane will be doing?
He will be qualified. He is qualified to compete in the Mid-State World Final Rodeo, which is the lower level of the IFR. It's the beginning level of the professionals. So they ride Friday night at 8, Saturday afternoon at 2, and Saturday night at 8 again. And he will be competing in the bull riding. So it'll be an interesting trip. He knows the bulls. He's seen the bulls all year. There was 15 boys that was in his group that started. They brought the top 3 back to the finals.
So you'll be competing against 2 other guys?
Yes.
And you ride 3 different times. You try to get your best run each time.
Yep.
And so you're not doing the roping and that other stuff this time.
No.
So this is you're focused on the bull riding.
Yep.
And the first one is Friday night at 8 o'clock. And then Jason sent me some video of Zane riding, right?
Yes.
So there's stuff out there on YouTube and on video and that kind of thing. You can watch these kids do it. It's incredible to watch as they get into this sport and learn more about it and go through it. What are you telling your boy as you go into this big tournament this weekend? Obviously, I have athletes in here every week. The mental part of the game is the main thing, right? When you go into this weekend, what will you tell your son?
Tell him go have fun.
Sure.
I mean, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
Sure.
And if you think about things, my personal experience is when you start thinking about things is when you get hurt, and that's why I stepped away from the sport. After my wife and I got married, I started thinking, well, what happens if I get hurt? Who's going to take care of the bills? This, that, and another thing. And when I rode before I got married, I didn't worry about none of it. And that's the way I'm at now. I enjoy both aspects of it. And like I said, I've been trying to drop some weight. I'd like to get down about 250, 260 someplace before I start getting back on. But it's all about the fun. It's the adrenaline. It's not really much more to say other than.
So don't clog your head up with a bunch of stinking thinking. Just go have fun.
That's right.
That's right.
That's why when I take in, I'll close my eyes, shove everything out of my head, breathe, and call.
What a kid. This is a great kid you got here, Jason. His name is Zane VonDeylen, and he will be competing this weekend down in Swanton, Ohio.
Yes, sir. It's a Mid-State Finals.
At a Mid-State Final event. He has 3 rides this weekend. Zane, we're all pulling for you. You got Hillsdale County on your side here, okay?
Okay.
I want you to go down there and do your thing and do what your dad said. Just have fun.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
Jason, make sure you let me know how it goes, all right?
Oh, well, if anybody wants to come down and watch, it's open to the public. I can't remember exactly what it is to come watch, but it's WB Arena in Swanton, Ohio. You can look it up on Facebook and find it, Or, if there is any younger kids out there that's looking at doing it, like I said, you can contact me. My phone number is 517-736-4696, or you can look us up on Facebook at rebelvranch.com, and that will pull up our ranch name. And you can actually see the videos of Zane there on the page. A couple of the other boys that's rode.
Rebel V as in Victor?
Yes.
RebelVranch.com.
Yep.
And you can look that up on Facebook.
Yep, we're on Facebook.
And you can see my man Zane do his thing.
Yep, and the rides that I sent you, we pulled them off of Facebook.
Okay.
Them were from the weekend before. Them are 2 of the bulls that he practiced on. Them are 2 of them that we own.
Jason VonDeylen and Zane VonDeylen, they love rodeo. It's a family thing. It's a thing that they've been doing for generations now, and it looks like it's going to continue well into the future. Thanks for making time for us tonight.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Jason and Zane, good luck to you this weekend down in Swanton, Ohio. We'll take a break. We've got much more of the show coming up right after this.